the soft green countryside of Kent, with its apple orchards and its hop farms. Picking hops, that's the purpose of this outing. The visitors live in corrugated iron sheds, which have to be made as much like home as possible. So they brought the spare room lino and a spot of fancy wallpaper. Settled in? Well, almost, with old friends from home. And you remember the people who were here last year? It's not long before supper's cooking. Scrumptious. The bigger families have their own kitchen where they cook and eat and sit around listening to the wireless. The hops grow like runner beans, climbing up strings. You pull one down and everyone sets to nip off the green flowers and toss them into the family bin. Many of the hoppers are old, but there are the young ones too. Look what you're doing, can't you? Another hop garden romance on the way. There's not been a specially large crop of hops, but it's good quality stuff. In the 3-week season, nearly 15,000 tons of hops have been picked, and that's enough for 800 million pints of beer. Before the hops go to the brewery, they must be dried in the oast house. Soon the hop gardens will be bare. And the last trailer on its way to the oast house. Then comes payday. The head of the family presents the tally card to the farmer and receives the cash. A happy time. Yes, the time for celebration. And having picked so many hops, who can resist tasting a few?
Holidays with clay. The subject is always news. Millions of us all over Britain start planning our holidays soon after Christmas. We save up for them all the year round. We take them in the summer and then we're ready to talk about them for the rest of the year. Can you wonder that the water's becoming more and more part of the national way of life? Just a quiet deck chair on the beach, and there's plenty to do and plenty to look at. Steady now, a chap gets short of breath watching all this exercise. By the time the season's over, about 8 million people will have sat on Blackpool Sands, many of them day trippers. Many of them from the town's 5,000 hotels and boarding houses. If you're in the mood, you can do the shows, which range from West End films and spectaculars to Punch and Judy. The Golden Mile and the fun fairs are perhaps Blackpool's own answer to the competition of the holiday camps, and other resorts are meeting the challenge too. If it's been a hard year's work, you can unwind and forget all about it among the sideshows. There's always something to do. Today, in this restless world, most of us have more money in our pockets than ever before, and a wider and wider choice of holiday to choose from.
Every year, about 1.5 million people in Britain go to holiday camps. For today, there are camps to suit all tastes. And in the last 10 years, the number of holiday campers has trebled. The big attraction of holiday camps is undoubtedly the fact that everything is laid on in one place, and you can join in or not as you wish. Most camps are near the sea or a river. And even in a self-catering camp, there are restaurants if you want to change from doing your own cooking. The holiday camp is one place where you'll never see the sign, "No children allowed." In these camps, children are catered for probably better than in any other form of organized holiday. From the moment they get up bright and early until it's time to go to bed and leave their parents to spend the sort of evening they want. At the modern holiday camp of this size, there's every kind of entertainment from organized sports to film shows. There's dancing for as many hours as anybody could possibly want. Events like mother and child contests help while away a wet afternoon. For one of the big problems of British holiday camps is the weather, and alternative indoor programs are ready to be brought into operation whenever they're needed. For those with a little more money to spend and who want to be sure of the sunshine, there are now holiday camps like summer villages around the Mediterranean. Some of the new ones are British. These holidaymakers are on the way to a camp south of Naples, one of 14 on the Mediterranean coast run by a French organization. This, of course, is a holiday camp with a difference, with blue skies and golden beaches and an almost South Sea island welcome. At this kind of holiday camp, the accent is always on sunbathing, despite all the other diversions. And when the sun has set, the evenings are warm enough to dance in the open air. When you arrive at the camp, you buy yourself a necklace, and you pay for your drinks and anything else you want with a bead or two. All this may seem a far cry from holiday camps in Britain, though it's really the same mixture with a continental flavour.
Down the coast towards Rome, we come to Pisa, with its famous leaning tower. It really does lean, more than 16 feet out of the perpendicular. But it's been leaning for 800 years, so there's no good hanging around for it to fall. Even if you don't understand the language, shopping is easy. So easy, it's hard to say no. The flower of Italy is Florence. So full of art treasures, it would take weeks to see them all. Here's the Ponte Vecchio, one of the loveliest bridges in the world. But we are bound for Rome, and we pass along the Assisi Road, reminding us of St. Francis, the founder of the Franciscan Order of Monks. The warm Mediterranean at last. And time for a paddle There's no doubt about it. It's warmer than Blackpool. The great romantic Byron wrote, "While stands the Colosseum, Rome shall stand. When falls the Colosseum, Rome shall fall. And when Rome falls, the world."
And so to the air ferry, the fastest method of transplanting the motorist and his car furthest away from it all. Having booked several months in advance, you drive to Southend, Lydd or Bournemouth according to where you want to go. Onto the ramp goes your medium-sized car, up and into the plane's nose. You can be off to the Channel Islands, France, Switzerland or Holland. At this moment, you, your partner and your car are 50 minutes away from Le Touquet, a trip that'll cost you altogether about £25 return. You are also 75 minutes away from Rotterdam for roughly double that cost, and 2 hours 35 minutes from Geneva at double the cost again. You don't have to be a motorist trying to pass it to realize this has become a familiar sight on Britain's roads. In less than 20 years, caravanning has established itself as one of the most popular ways of spending a holiday in this country. Today, there are nearly 75,000 touring trailer caravans, about 10,000 motor caravans, and around 250,000 caravans which are more or less permanently on sites. This camp in Dorset is one of 4,200 up and down the country. It's also one of the biggest. There are more than 1,000 caravans here and all kinds of amenities for all ages. There are shops of one kind and another. There's plenty of space for games. And bicycles made for two. There's even a miniature railway. This kind of caravan accommodates the whole family comfortably. You can buy a caravan today for anything from about £250 to more than £3,000. Of course, you don't have to buy a caravan to put up for the night by the roadside. You could, for instance, do this.
Up in the Highlands of Scotland, they're saying there's no business like snow business. Right across the Cairngorm Mountains, the spine of Scotland, towering more than 4,000 feet high, the icy vastnesses are being turned into a skier's playground from the middle of December to April and even into May on the higher ground. It all adds up to a revolution, to a business worth around £500,000 a season. And it has all been created in the last few years. Every weekend, some 10,000 Scots make for the main skiing centres to join tourists from all over Britain in some 70 hotels, many of which used to close down for the winter. Ski schools like this have been set up with experienced instructors from Austria, Norway and Switzerland. But not all learners make as successful a run as this. And not many expert skiers with their novice days long behind them can member like these aces. This deep, crisp snow has brought new life to the Highlands and a new light on the age-old problem of how to make the most of this far north of Britain. In a changing world, the people of the Highlands are moving fast with the times. They're out to make skiing as Scottish as haggis and whiskey. They're leaping into a prosperous future.
There's one golden rule for keeping fit nowadays: enjoy it. It doesn't matter, say the experts, what exercise you do, so long as you want to. Then you'll get results. This tough muscle-pulling stuff, for instance, is all very well, but for the likes of you and me, perhaps it's better to try something that comes more naturally. At least, that's what the Central Council of Physical Recreation says. And that's what they encourage at evening classes throughout the country, and at their 3 centres, where yearly more than 15,000 people spend a week's sporting holiday. Experts are on hand to teach and encourage. Maybe it's archery. Weightlifters from all over the country come to Bisham Abbey on the Thames for instruction from Al Murray, Britain's national and Olympic coach. Remember, nothing to stop you trying, so long as you want to. What's this? A family of weightlifters? Looks like it. Hey, take it easy, son. Timberyard manager Jack Edmonds of Mortlake, Surrey, says it's the best exercise of all. So he has his 3 sons out in the back garden every morning. £60 for Jackie, aged 8. £65 for Raymond, 11. And for Keith, who's only a 3-year-old, just £16. Here's more my idea of exercises: rhythmical movements to music by the Keep Fit Association. More movement to music, the Margaret Morris technique of self-expression. Given a subject to represent, each person expresses it in her own way and gets plenty of exercise in the process. After being solids, they now imagine they're liquids, water, not beer, and weave all over the place. A favorite is to imagine they're tied up in plastic bags, and then they've got to claw their way out. London businessman Albert Meltzer has solved his problem of exercise by stopping off every morning at Highgate Ponds. He's been doing it for 15 years now, summer and winter. He allows himself a 10-minute dip. Then a good rub down, and he's on his way to his King's Cross bookshop. Cycling's another way. Mr. Murphy of Streatham rides for an hour every morning, whatever the weather. Oh, well, at least he gets the exercise.
Yoga exercises are practiced today in homes up and down the country, or at classes at a yoga center, where lectures are given on the meaning of the science. Here, once or twice a week, students learn the two kinds of exercises that form Hatha Yoga, the yoga of physical fitness and the control of mind and body. First, they must learn to control their breathing and their minds. Next come the pure exercises. There are 84 traditional postures in Hatha Yoga, and they are variations of 7 basic postures. Yoga, say its teachers, is not a religion, it's a way of life. The techniques taught at a yoga course are claimed to keep the students fit and to enable them to achieve perfect relaxation, to remove tension, and to balance body and mind. For some people, relaxation means keeping perfectly still. For others, it means just the opposite. And if you're between 4 and 14, your idea of relaxing is never to relax for a minute, like these children in some of London's playgrounds, which have been specially designed for them to do just that.
The Greater London Council began to think along adventure playground lines in 1959. Now 28 parks all over the London area have special play parks in them, like this one in Battersea Park. Play parks open during the spring and summer school holidays all day and from 5:30 to 8 p.m. in term time. No two play parks are exactly alike, and each reflects the outlook of its leader. Free play is encouraged, but it still needs unobtrusive leadership to be really enjoyable. Up and down the country, the idea of free creative play is being developed. This playground on the edge of a Birmingham housing estate was laid out by the landscape section of the City Architects Department. And while this comprehensive playground was still being built by the Nuneaton local authority, it was invaded and occupied by the children. The mounds have been made with the rubbish from the site and surfaced with concrete for bad weather use. Another new piece of equipment is the aerial ropeway, which became a firm favorite in no time. Good fun and good exercise too. But even with free creative play, healthy competition can be stimulating. Leader Murray Marks of the Cumberland Play Centre in Camden decided to organise a soapbox derby among the children in the area, and everyone entered into the spirit of the thing with a will. The heats were run on a time basis, and there was what could be called a soft finish. This is the sort of contest in which it doesn't really matter who wins. It's the adventure that counts.